Hey, your boy showed up, Darren Till. We've been talking about this before. I think we both picked Till to win, right?
We both picked Till to
So.
win. You thought that it was going to be by decision. I
That's what I
came
thought.
with the controversy with the first round TKO, and baby, we did it! Baby, we did it!
Oh, that was so
Yo.
crazy. Dude, the way he whips that left hand in there, all his strikes really, but the way that left hand just in and then he pulls it out. He doesn't, pop it and bring his arm down. He brings it right back out, you know.
I
Fucking
just like the way that he's very elusive. Everybody's going on about, like, I've seen it already with a dozen tweets that, he fights like Conor, he throws that uppercut, he pops in and out. And while I agree, what you're going to take into account, this is a guy who's 170 pounds popping in and out like a fucking ghost. And he's going to be a problem, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you.
Oh, he's already a problem. Everybody, if you look on social media, all of the welterweights are like, "Holy shit, this dude's real." And I mean, he said it himself in the post-fight interview that he's like, "Hey, look, I'm 170, but I'm coming down from like heavyweight. I'm a big boy. Like you guys can't handle me."
You can tell with the size of his shoulders, like
Big motherfucker, man.
he's like when Cowboy like kind of got him down in that first like minute, I looked and I was like, okay, because I kind of thought that Cowboy, when he was speaking about me dragging him into deep waters, that he might go for the wrestling. And I looked at the build, and obviously he went to Brazil to initially train, and that's where his kind of his beginning of his professional MMA career began, is in Brazil. So obviously he'll have worked on his jiu-jitsu and his grappling and whatnot. But you look at the size of this kid's shoulders and the upper body, and you go, you weren't keeping him down. There was no way you were going to keep him down. He popped straight back up, and then it was just another cowboy rolling.
Dude, the thing about it too is a Cowboy looks so much smaller. Even those takedowns, like you knew. Okay, like here's the thing. So obviously people on Twitter were just like, "Why is Cowboy shooting?" First of all, if you don't know, Cowboy is, I believe, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's got like 16 some submissions on his record. He knew what he was doing. That being said, the fact that he couldn't get him down, I was like, "Oh shit!" Now he's gonna strike with this kid with the long arms and the power. Like I think we both saw this problem coming to begin with. I think the
I agree.
fact that Till was able to. I mean, look, when we talked about this fight before it went down on Thursday, we did our pre-fight. We both said this is a Cowboy doesn't really have a lot to win here, but if Darren Till wins, I remember I even used the wrestling term. He puts him over. He's way the fuck over.
Mm-hmm.
Way the fuck over. Now he's got a Cowboy Cerrone under his belt.
At the end of the day, when people were saying about Darren Till, and it was like, oh, Cowboy doesn't even know who he is, and like all that kind of stuff, that's fine, because you know what, Darren Till knew who Cowboy was, and he was willing to go, right, this is my opportunity. Whereas there's some fights I just think certain, but you know what, and I'm going to get a lot of heat for this because I spoke to you this about before we went on air, but I don't think Darren Till should have called out Mike Perry, because to me, Mike Perry's a step down. You just beat the number 6 guy in Cowboy, whichever way you want to look at it. He's the number 6 guy, and whether you like it or not, that's the rankings. Maybe it wasn't a better idea to call out somebody else. Like, I just think it's a step down going against Mike Perry.
And you might be right. Look, depending on especially the fucking the call out of Mike Perry. Look, people got mad. Not people got mad. People were just like, "Well, what's wrong with that?" No. Nothing is wrong with Mike Perry jumping on the fucking cage. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with Mike Perry getting up there. In fact, that's good for the UFC, right? That's what the UFC wants is heated fighters, heated rivalries and shit like that. Okay. I just tweeted out earlier. I said, "Hey, look, like that's just funny." I found it hilarious. I was like, "What a child!" Like, it took nothing. It's easy to bake Mike Perry into some shit like that.
Yeah.
No one ever said there was something wrong with that. So chill the fuck out, people. But that being said, depending on the ranking, I tend to agree with you. But maybe Darren Till sees Mike Perry taking out Ponzinibbio. If Mike Perry can't beat Santiago, that's a non-starter, right?
Well, the thing is like Mike Perry's 15th, and Ponzinibbio is 9th. So, like, with both of them, they have claims to be in, that 9th and 10th spot, in my opinion. Sure. They could quite easily be slid in there if they both get victories. So where's the advantage of doing so? Like, there's no upscale. Like, I'm looking at these rankings and I'm thinking, why didn't you call it like a Neil Magny? Like Neil Magny would be a good fight to kind of test where you want, or a Gunnar Nelson if you're Darren Till. Just somebody who's higher than Perry. Maybe he's looking and going, well, Perry's going to fight next, so potentially, I can have a little bit of a layoff, and then I can obviously fight him after he's fought, which is smart. You know what I mean? Like, but then why not strike while the iron's hot? Either way, I said this to you. Darren Till KOs Perry in 1, and I'm calling that right here, right now. Mystic Ash, motherfuckers.
Mystic Ash. Yeah, he really did say that. I'm not gonna bullshit. He really did say all that shit. So good on you, man. Real quick, shout out to my teammate, brother, Oscar de los Santos from CTA, brother, winning today's blue belt showdown in Tucson. He won his division, all submissions by regulation, and he won the absolute all submissions in regulation. Good on you, sir. I'll see you on Monday. Yeah, good dude.
Credit,
He's a quiet dude. He's a fucking humble ass dude, but he's a murderer on the fucking mats. He's scary and flexible as shit. Anyway, I just want to throw that out there for my boy. All right, so what's next? Let's just start with, look, Darren Till is just up, right? He wants the Mike Perry fight, but you just said that you think it's a step down. Who would you rather see him against?
I'm saying, like, right now, if I had to pick somebody out of those rankings, I just think it's a kind of an easy, an easy ride. I'm personally saying that you should have called out like a Gunnar Nelson, somebody with a little bit more clout. It builds your name. I think beating Mike Perry got pieced up by Alan Jouban.
Yeah.
And I think Alan Jouban isn't as good a striker in the context of, he might be technically a slightly bit better than Darren Till, but Darren Till has more power. So if he can be edged out by Jouban, an old Jouban, let's make sure that's into account as well. Jouban's old as shit, in his mid-30s. A young Darren Till pieces him up and probably finishes him in the first round, like I'm claiming. So I'm saying Gunnar Nelson would have been a good fight. You could have done that in England in a European card. You could do that in the States if you really wanted to, but fuck it, man. Why don't we get a UFC Liverpool going? It amused me highly that, Mike Perry's that fucking much of an idiot that he doesn't realize that he's not from fucking Manchester and Darren Till's actually from Liverpool. So, like, let's go. But hey, it is what it is. But I personally would have liked to seen that fight with Gunnar Nelson. That'd probably be my choice. Or call out Neil Magny. Either one of those two guys, I think you could have got a fight, and I think you could have bumped yourself up the rankings a little bit further.
The problem with Neil Magny, I think Carlos Condit's about to end that shit real quick. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't call out big names. Hey, why not call out Carlos Condit?
Yeah, Carlos Condit. All right, you know what? Yeah, call out Condit. You know what would have been funny is if he did something stupid like, and I'm glad he didn't do it, but there was some of my friends were like, oh, he should call out Nick Diaz. I'm like, everyone's tried that. They can't get him out. I wonder if that would have worked. But yeah, I'm glad he didn't do it. Real quick on the YouTube comments here. Yuzi saying, Till is a machine. I was rooting for Till, but still didn't expect it in the first round. Priya Rose, what's going on, miss? She said, I thought he'd win under 3, but didn't expect the first. So nobody but other than you expected the first round stoppage, apparently. Yeah, Rose says, yeah, I'd like him to F up Mike Perry, but I'd much rather Santiago beat Mike Perry because he's a step down. Good point. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. And you just said
Mike Perry is a step down, regardless of, people might like his clout and they might like his fighting style, but it's a step down. Regardless, he's 15th and he just beat the number 6 guy. So he's basically going, right, I can compete with the guys at the top echelon of the league, like of the division, and now I'm going to fight somebody who's right at the bottom of the division. It makes no sense.
Yeah, it really doesn't. But if you want to firefight, you want to put someone, you want to see someone get put down. That's a good move. So, Gary, whoever on the YouTube comments, what's up, man? He goes, I don't know if this is great or not, but only in combat sports can one fight increase someone's popularity and prospects in the rankings. Yeah, that's mostly combat sports. That's mostly MMA, though. Boxing don't happen a lot. Boxing, losing a fight in boxing will end your shit, though. Right? So that's kind of how it works in there.
I don't know. I think with combat sports, especially with MMA, is because it's still in, I don't care what anybody says, it's still in its infancy. It's not that deep. Do you know what I mean? You know, like where like you look at like a lot of boxing organizations, and there's fucking hundreds of guys under one allegiance, one organization. Whereas as MMA, in all fairness, you know, there's you look at certain divisions and they're not that deep. Look at the 205. Look at the light heavyweight. That division is so thin, and it's like the heavyweight division so thin. And I think that's the reason why, you know, a new guy can come in, and if he puts on a show, we're excited because, you know, we think of the potential matchups to kind of see how somebody progress. But I think in MMA, that's why it's so predominant. Whereas like in boxing, you know, you can win 20 fights, you know what I mean, and still be a pro, and you're still like an unknown. So
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's been a lot of guys that have been like that, right? You know, it takes them forever to get a big fight, and then they're known, and everyone's like, "Who is this guy?" And it's like he's been in the UFC for like 15 fights, and you don't know who he is. You know what I mean? That happens a lot. It really does happen a lot. Let's see. Gary, whoever says this is a good post-fight combo show, thank you. It proves Twitter is another bullshit social media shit show. Eddie, you have over 2,000 followers, and there's only a few cats showing respect over here on YouTube. Hey, I'm glad whoever shows up shows up. All right, we got. I really do. I appreciate anyone. If it was 1 or 1,000, don't care. Y'all are the shit, and that's why I appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate it. Especially people that are in the comments and stuff. I like to have a interactive type of show. All right, so we know. So now we know what we want to do with Darren Till. Here's a quick answer this one. Gary Hoover says, I got 4 wisdom teeth pulled and 1 broken tooth pulled, but Darren Till's back is still more jacked than my mouth.
Let's go.
Yeah, Gary with this. Gary pulls that shit out big time. Anyway, so that was good. Yeah. So now, I mean, you asked me on Twitter on the DMs. You go, is that the next? Is Darren Till the next big thing? Do you believe so?
When I say the next big thing, I was referring to the next British guy.
Okay.
That's what I was mean. I don't mean is he going to be the next superstar by any means, because he's not that guy. And I hate to say it because everybody can hate me as much as you want. You know, I never thought that Anderson Silva was going to be the next guy. You know, GSP was never the next guy. All these guys never had that crossover appeal to the mainstream. We saw that with Ronda Rousey. We saw that with Conor McGregor. I don't think Darren Till has the crossover per se to become a mega superstar in that context. But like we were speaking about on the Heel Hook show on Thursday, there's a big difference between being an MMA star and a crossover star. Can he be one of the next big things in MMA? 100%. I don't think he's going to be a crossover star. That's just my personal opinion. But I do think he could be the next big thing at 170. Hey, imagine him at 185. Because he could. Imagine that guy fucking jacked.
He's young as fuck though, right? Darren Till's young.
Yeah, he's not old at all. I think he's 20. I think he's 26.
Well, my point is this: is that at some point he's gonna grow. His body's gonna grow. It's gonna be harder for him to make that weight. To make 170.
Yeah, he's 24.
Yeah, dude. I think he's only got like a year or 2 left to make it 170, man. I think it's gonna be very difficult to make 170 when he gets in there later.
Do you think he can be the next big thing then?
Next big, he's certainly the next big British thing, right? Like today, he cemented that, in my opinion. I think when you think British MMA, you're thinking Michael Bisping. It used to be you were thinking dude with the hat, Dan Hardy as well, but the dude with the hat, my boy, 135.
Oh,
Brad Pickett. I'm a huge Brad Pickett fan still. Like, I'm glad he retired. But I was a big fan. That motherfucker came out with the hat and shit, doing all this bullshit. I was like, and when I first saw him fight, I was like, who the fuck is? Fuck it, I like that guy. Like, I was a big fucking Pickett fan. Yeah. And he's like, he had one hit quitter power. So, but and then you're thinking Darren Till.
Him and Matt Diakese. I still think people are writing off Matt Diakese. I can't wait to. Apparently, he's got some fight in line. He's signed a contract.
Yeah, he's fighting.
I don't know who the fight's going to be against, but I know that he said that he's signed a contract to fight somebody. So hopefully that person does, and we get to see him fight before the end of the year. But I think Matt Diakese is another guy who's a major prospect that I don't think people are giving enough credit to, because he can wrestle and he can bang.
And he's been around for a minute, right, Mark?
He's only been around for about 2 years in the UFC. I think this is his second year. I think this is only his second year.
All right, hey, fuck.
He's had like 3 or 4 fights and he's only lost 1. So
yeah, All right, here's a good question for you, and this is from Gary Whoever. He goes, "Do you guys see similarities in McGregor and Darren Till's fighting style, stance, and movements?"
Yo,
And you
you
were
see
talking
that
about
in
a second ago.
everybody. You see that in everybody now. You see it in Herman Cejudo. You see it in Darren Till. You know, it's not necessarily a case of that. You see it in Michael Venom Page. I spoke about this about a year, 2 years ago, and people got so mad at me because they didn't understand the principles of what I was saying. But these guys, the style that they use is like points fight in kickboxing, where, you know, it's tag, who hits who first, and, you know, that's how you win points in points kickboxing. The difference is, though, is these guys know that they can jump in and continue after hitting somebody once. They can jump in with that quickness, pull back out if they need to, and if they want to, they can try and go in for the finish. I think it's the new style. It's just like the new thing.
Right. So in sports, in all sports, fighting, regular sports, basketball, football, all that stuff, it's copycat from everybody,
Yeah.
right? Everybody. You know, so definitely it's he's definitely got touches of it, of the McGregor style, and that, you know, that kickboxing back in, you know, in and out type of, the point scoring. So, and it really was sorry, what the fuck? Sorry, my I don't know if you guys follow the UFC injury bug on Twitter, but he just sent me a picture. It says, was able to find a picture from Bellator MMA offices last night, and it's a picture of the Joker with like a million, that whole stash of fucking like dollar bills on fire. Apparently, Bellator sucked last night, so I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I wasn't able to watch. I was working out and putting in work on this training camp. But regardless, I'll probably find a replay on YouTube. But Gary says the hands down stance seems to be trying to draw people in for counters, very precise and fast fighters. Maybe not so much hands down to show off or show disrespect for the opponents. That's 100%. No, you're on point, and you put it on this for sure, Ash. Because you're more you're more experienced as far as that goes, but are more knowledgeable. But my thing is this: it's like, when you see a Diaz going, what bitch, it's not necessarily to disrespect his opponent. It's to make you do something. When you see a Conor McGregor putting his hands behind his back against Eddie Alvarez, by the way, that was because he busted his hand too, and he had to practice that. But regardless, he put his hand behind his back against Eddie Alvarez, put his hand behind his back against Floyd Mayweather. That wasn't a disrespect. That was a come get some and counter. You know what I mean? But what'd you think about that though? Because he did do that. He put his hands down. He kind of left himself open, and Cowboy was kind of reluctant, in my opinion, to like take some of those.
The hands spots. Down thing is also a technique that a lot of fighters use, because you've got to think, when you're stood like this and you're looking at someone's head, you know where you're going to strike and you know where the strikes are coming from. When your hands are lower down, even if you're looking at my screen right now, you can see my hands are down. You don't know where my hands are coming from. You don't know if they're coming from the side. You don't know if they're coming from above. You don't know where the strikes are coming from. And that's why a lot of, in kickboxing especially, you used to keep, and you can go to the body as well. So a lot of fighters in point scoring kickboxing have their hands low, in that kind of style of American kickboxing. They have their hands low because you don't know where the hand is going to come up to. You don't know if it's going to go to the body. You don't know if it's coming up to the head. And that's why they keep their hands low, because if you look down, then you don't know what's coming to the sides. You can go throw a head kick, you can throw a knee if somebody's looking down. It's just, that's why a lot of fighters put their hands down. It's just purely a thing of that it's harder to judge, because you can't look at the shoulders either. Because when you usually see somebody's shoulders and they've got the guard up, you can see where the shoulder's going to pop from. And that's usually the case. So I think that's one of the main reasons that fighters use that now, because it's just an added thing. It's like when a lot of guys use feints, like Anderson Silva, where he used to just go like this because you never knew where the fuck he was going to hit from.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and that is a good point with the hands down though, because if there was like, what was the other fight where the uppercut was like there every time, he never used it? Fuck, I'll remember in a second. So I was looking at some fucking other fights. All right, so let's talk about Cowboy real quick. A lot of people on Twitter going, he should need to retire. I go, no. He needs to stop fighting big motherfuckers. Like, lightweight, or, like the smaller of the 170 guys, but just don't be fighting monsters like fucking Darren Till. You know what I mean?
It's just a glass ceiling.
Yeah.
It's just a glass ceiling. You know, the shit happens. We've seen it with Michael Bisping at 205. It's just, he couldn't do it at 205. He could beat a lot of guys, but there's a plateau. and some guys you just can't compete against. Daniel Cormier at heavyweight.
Yeah.
There's just a certain level where you reach a certain kind of guys, and you go, right, I'm done. I can't compete at that size anymore. It's like what you always say with jiu-jitsu. At the end of the day, if you're a black belt, he's a black belt, or he's a blue belt, you're a blue belt, the guy who's the bigger guy wins.
Yeah, stronger, bigger dude has a ridiculous advantage. Everyone says, you know, well, size doesn't matter in jiu-jitsu. Come over to the heavyweight division, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I fought some dudes that cut down to heavyweight. Don't know how they did it, and they were big motherfuckers. All right. Anyway, but yeah. So you know, Cowboy, he just stick around, take some time off, whatever. But you know, hopefully, comes back to 155, and maybe the lighter 170s. I don't think he's really worried about title shots anyway. But
the problem is though, is that 155 thing is if he does 155, there's a lot of killers in that 155, and I don't know if Cowboy can get through some of these killers now. You know, like maybe the division's past him.
Yeah, 34 years old. I think he's got maybe a year left or so of like solid fights.
Fights and say, fuck it, let's just make whoever wants to fight me. Let's do some fucking big, crazy money fights. And I really hate the fight thing, but I'm just saying he's 34. He's probably not going to get a run at either title now. Let's go. You know, like when we saw the Robbie Lawler fight. I know that was kind of in the rankings type thing, but let's just make some cool fights.
Yeah, and you know what? The one out there that I want to see, but they won't happen because they're teammates. I would love to see him and Condit.
Yeah,
him and Carlos Condit would be funny shit. You know what I mean? Or even like the Nate Diaz rematch would be fun with the Cowboy. Like now, I think it would be fun to watch.
Name fighting for less than fucking 5 million. So good luck with that.
Yeah, they're not gonna give him 5 million to fight Cowboy Cerrone, unfortunately. On some kind of fucking not a fight pass, but like a fight night card. All right, real quick, shout out to Uncle Hank's drinking buddy. What's up, man? Appreciate the he says always a good show. Appreciate the compliment, my friend. And Joey Tremendous was early, and I think he might be gone. I haven't seen him comment, but he says Till is a monster. Agreed. All right. Gary says USADA has altered our reality. You know what?
So?
It's a good point. It's a good point to the point where it's like a lot of fighters seem different ever since USADA came in. But yeah.
Hey, that's, you know, at the end of the day, people want to be professional fighters. They have to act like professional athletes. Yeah. Everybody does it.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while, but at some point we're all gonna, they'll get used to it and they'll figure this shit out, I think. All right, Brisket Slider, what up, man? Says I love Cowboy. I don't give a fuck.